Feedback,
just mixing
feedback is
mix it,
everybody. Woo!
mixing it up a little bit for him. So that way it wasn't just kind of same stock. But yeah, it's pretty much this. It's just doing those basics over a million times. Is this what you need to do?
But yeah, I was commenting that with Mr. Fulgado here, and is was saying this, like one of the things I like the most when you teach is like the simplicity and the clearness of the concepts all the time, and it's like that feeling like I get back to this, and it's like I didn't remember so many things that it's like you go back to it and back to it and back
Yeah,
to it. And every time you go back to it, it's layers and layers and layers. It's really, really good. So not
for
to take
sure.
too much time because you've been using a lot of time. So first of all, speed questions.
Okay, go. I'm ready. I'm
So
ready.
7 speed questions. Training in the morning or in the evening?
Morning.
Do you prefer to teach big groups or top athletes?
Both.
Do you prefer to train alone or in a group?
Depends on what I'm doing.
Ah.
Uh,
Okay, forms or weapons?
Forms.
Sparring or combat weapons?
Oh God, give me a break. Sparring.
Round kick or side kick?
Sidekick.
Pizza or pasta?
Pizza or pop pizza?
Okay, these are the speed questions. We're gonna put this on Instagram.
Those are my favorite ones right there.
Yeah, we're gonna put this on Instagram or something and do something with this. So, okay, so let's start by that. So the idea of this is for students to know you a bit better and to know your story, and obviously by knowing your story, they also have a reference of excellence actually. So, when did you start martial arts?
I started martial arts when I was 6 years old. I'm 36 now, so it's been 30 years. I was a horrible student. I stopped and started all the time. So if you're a color belt and you don't always feel like going, I didn't either. My mom and dad just encouraged me to keep moving and keep working when the times presented themselves, and I did that. And I just kept finding my way back to martial arts, and it just always kept coming back to martial arts. So
What do you
I
think?
got real serious about it when I was 15, and since then that's all I've done every
What
day,
do you
all day.
think was making you go back to martial arts? I know I mean, so if people don't know, your father is today a chief master. So obviously, being an instructor, do you think that helped a lot? What was specifically for you? What made you go back to the
Well,
tatami?
I can kind of go back to a one of the speed questions on this one actually. I love playing football, soccer. I love playing, and I was pretty good at it. And I was making my way through some of the club teams that we had, and I played baseball a lot too, and I was pretty good at that as well. Well, he moved, and the coaches that I was moving to I just didn't get along. Not that I didn't get along with them, but they just weren't the same kind of impactful people in my life that my other coaches were, and they weren't helping me drive to the next level. And at that point, I didn't really want to do team sport because I couldn't. The teams that was on were not as dedicated as I was to what I was doing. And I knew with martial arts, I was the only. I mean, there's nobody else to push me harder than myself at that point. So I knew I could push myself as hard as I wanted to go, as fast as I wanted to go, and it wasn't anybody else's fault but my own.
Mhm.
And that's one reason why I went back to martial arts, because I could see what the limit was for myself. And at that point too, it was a lot just kind of working on yourself. But then I started working out with Grandmaster Azuna and even my father more, and some other instructors, and they saw that desire too, and they just started pushing me like a top athlete, like an athlete instead of just a martial artist.
Right.
And that's where I really really thrived. So there are times I love to train by myself and push and push and push and push. Then once you get to that point, then you have to get a group and spar and spar and spar, because that's what's my real passion, right? So that's when it really started to. I think that's why I went back to martial arts so hard at 15. One of it is we moved, and my coaches just weren't the same, and the teams weren't the same. They just weren't gelling, and they didn't click, and they weren't really trying to build each other up. And the teams I were on were such good teams, and we'd been together since we were at a young age. So it was just a really hard experience for me, and not bad, but it just made me realize that, man, I really like martial arts, and now I like that team aspect again. That's why I want to give back to a team sparring and to other instructors and to other students across the states and across the world to just share my love for that, because sometimes you have to go on the inside and find who you are. And then sometimes you have to go on the outside and really help the people around you. There's that balance of it. And I think that's what has always drawn me to martial arts. So it's just, that was the particular time in my life where I said, yeah, I'm all in on this. So it was about 15.
And so do you think so you went really serious when you were 15. So if in a sentence, what advice would you give to a 15-year-old today, or a 16-year-old teenager that wants to train and wants to, but sometimes they go on and
Yeah.
off, and what advice would be a quick advice for them?
The quick advice on that is that I don't make decisions on mountaintops, meaning on my high points in life, and I don't make decisions on the valleys, meaning the low points in my life. And as a teenager, you go like this all the time. You just do. And I would say even as a young adult in the 20s, you go like this all the time. And I think when you start getting your mid 20s, late 20s and 30s, it starts to be a little more level, and you just start level out a little bit more. So you make, I think, probably better decisions. So I would say as a teenager, just work on staying the course. Just keep showing up. You just got to keep showing up. You got to keep showing up. All right. Because the person next to you, they might not show up. And if you just keep showing up, you're going to have more and more opportunities to excel. And you're going to have more and more opportunities to be around people that will inspire you to be better. You just will. So just keep working on showing up. Don't make the decisions to go compete when you're at the top, and don't make decisions to quit when you're at the bottom, because you can't do that, because you're making it off of just a pure emotional decision, and that's not right either. So I would say just stay the course and keep showing up, and you'll have a lot of opportunities come your way.
Sure, great advice, sir. Thank you. I will share this part to all the students. And
Yeah.
every class, I'm going to show
That's
this. So yes, absolutely. And so let's get into the competition part. So you were multiple times world champion in sparring, and a lot of people are attracted to the idea of becoming a world champion, and they only see the champion part, right? So they see like, wow, and they go to worlds once, they don't win, and they get desperate and frustrated. What do you have to say to them? I mean, what was your story? And because did you arrive one day and just win everything and be a champion?
So, and I know you know this, but just for the students out there and even instructors out there, I was going for world champion for 12 years before I ever won. The first time I was in top 10, I was 15. I was 15 when the first year I started taking it really serious to be a competitor again. Oh, I made it right to top 10. I was like, man, I can do this. I'm gonna win. I lost. I got crushed. It was devastating. Cried. In fact, it was just horrible. I did that for 12 years, 12 years straight, until I was 27. I didn't win my first world title until I was 27. So part of the advice I gave to you earlier is just keep showing up. You just got to keep showing up. But and that's a part of consistency. All right. And consistency is so powerful. The water beats the rock, not because it's stronger, but it's more consistent. It just keeps beating away, and it just keeps going. And that's how it finally gets through the rock. It's just consistent. Right. So I love to compete, but I didn't win my first title until I was 27. And if I would have won when I was 15, I could tell you that I wouldn't be sitting here talking with you today, because I would already think I was the greatest. I would have moved on to something else. But reality is, it a sense put enough humility in me to want to keep going, to keep trying. And then now, when I won, I realized why it was supposed to be the way it was, because now I'm supposed to be an instructor. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to help people this way. And that if I would have won at 15, I wouldn't be in this spot, and I wouldn't be able to deliver that same message if I had won. I just wouldn't have, because I just would have thought I was already at the top of the heap, and I'm not. And even now, even after you win world champion, there's always somebody better, faster, that was off that day, that couldn't come that day, that whatever, and that's okay. I just happened to win those days, and it felt great, and there's a lot of work that was put into it. I mean, for the competitors that are competing and not winning, just keep showing up, keep trying, don't give up. It'll happen. And anybody in those rings can win on any day. With that being said, too, you're rewarded in the light for what you do in the dark. When you ask me, go back to your speed question, I work out in the morning. I get up early, 5:30 or 6, and I work out in the morning, because I don't want to be distracted, and that's all I want to do is work on what I need to work on for myself. And you have to put the work in when nobody's watching to be rewarded when everybody's watching. And if you want to be rewarded on that, yeah,
Yeah,
if you
it's
want to be
true. Well, I was
rewarded,
going to ask you about that. That was my next question is what is, because there's a lot of ethics in training, right? You have to be a hard working person, and a lot of people think this is an overnight success story when you win a tournament, right? And it's not. So what is, you had your training routine when you were going for world championships, but still today you have a training routine. You want to, like, you already started talking about that. So what do you and in different phases of your life, so when you were competing
of
and then
course.
after, what in a nutshell, what would you say at least a solid competitor should train, or what would be a good routine or amount of time or the mindset?
I would say if as I have even when I'm training top athletes, if I want to train big groups or top athletes, I like to do both, and it
Of
just depends
course.
on what we're working on. So if I'm working with top athletes, it's like a bell curve. It has to go up and it has to come back down, right? So as we get closer to the tournament, the amount of training we do actually drops down. The intensity is very high, all right, but the amount we do is a lot lower because we don't want to get hurt.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? So as I start to gear up for tournaments, if I was competing still, uh, at least 3 times a week, where we're doing maybe two to 3 hours of training, at least 2 to 3 times a week is a minimum. I mean, that's like the baseline. And then
Mhm.
after that, as you get closer, if the tournament is 6 months away, you'll increase the amount and keep the same intensity level hour wise, 2 to 3 hours. So maybe a fourth day, like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 to 3 hours. As you get maybe 4 months out, you increase the intensity level, maybe another hour of cardio or weight lift, like weights or strength training or agility or flexibility. All of those things come in. And those are all things that we worked on. During those times, I was 27, 28, 29. I didn't have any children.
Exactly, I
um,
was going to say
yeah,
that.
I
With
didn't have any
children,
children. I
everything
was,
changes.
yes, yeah. That's all I did though. That's just like martial arts as an instructor is my job. That to me was a part of my job. I woke up, I was up every day. I was at the park running about 2 miles to warm up at like 7:30 a.m. every day. And that's just how the day started. For
Mhm.
from 26 till 31, that's how the day started.
Mhm.
That was it. And we'd be at the park, and then we would do some workouts outside of the park, kicking drills, conditioning, go to the school spar, uh, go to the chiropractor, go do some stretching, do a little bit of maybe yoga, and then go in and do the work we have to do at our martial arts school, teach classes, and then eat dinner and go to sleep and start over. It was a full day of work. Now, as
Do
I come out of
you
that, I'm obviously not in that phase anymore. I've got 2 kids. I have to force myself to get up a little bit earlier. I don't work out as long. My intensity is not nearly as high because I know that if I'm working out from 5:45 or 6 to 7, they're up at 7. I have to adjust my schedule to be ready to accommodate my family and accommodate work. So some of the training has to change a little bit. And as I come ready to get ready for even testing for seventh degree in a year and a half, right? I'll have to either wake up earlier. I'll have to wake up earlier, or I'll have to find other areas to train. Maybe I strap them onto my back and run them around like Luke Skywalker and Yoda. I don't know. So, you know, so
okay,
um,
I have to try that. I have to try
yeah.
that. So, yeah. So, um, last question is, what are your current goals? Well, now we're full on pandemic mode and things are a bit off and inconsistent. But now that you're 36, testing, well, one of the goals will be obviously testing for senior master in a year and a half. What do you see for the next few years for yourself and your goals, and your goals for not only for yourself but for other people? I mean, what is your
Um, this is a great question. I've got a couple goals, obviously personally, testing would be one of them. I'd like to make sure that like even for myself, just how the eating, I've got to make sure I keep eating. I got to start even changing my eating habits better. Like I eat well, but as I get to this closer to 40, I got to start making sure I'm eating the right way. I know that doesn't really relate to children that much, but it is true.
to that? I relate to that. It's,
Right. Yeah.
it does change. It does change.
Um, so some of that personally, also for our business, I know we're in pandemic mode, but I'm looking to open to more schools. I'm looking also as far as a leader to help more instructors, whether in all over the world, because there's a lot of people that want help, and there's a lot of people that need help, and there's a lot of people that um, don't have great information. And I know I've been super blessed with the background that I have had with my father, with Grandmaster Azuna, with a lot of the instructors in my life, and I want to be able to give that information away so that they can excel and prosper and have a great careers and lifestyles doing martial arts, especially for our next generation coming up, these guys that are 19, 20, 21, 22 that love martial arts, and they need some guidance on how to be great instructors, to get more students, to maybe open a school their own one day. That's my whole goal for them. So really at this whole juncture in my life, a lot of my goals are about giving back to the people that want to learn and want to exceed and excel in what they're doing. So those have been all my goals for a long time. But I would say even now more than ever, especially during this time. 2020 has been a tough year for the world. And I think we can definitely help each other a lot here across the world. And I think the world is a huge place, but it gets smaller every day. Look at this, we're on Zoom right now talking about talking
No,
and
this
working
is
out together.
I mean, some years ago we wouldn't be able to be so connected, and even this pandemic makes us a big family. I mean, this is attacking everybody, and it's affecting everybody the same way. So it kind of
Right.
normalizes human beings, and it's part of the new future in a way. It's a hard part, but it kind of shows that we're all on the same boat,
For
and
sure.
that's the beautiful part of all of this. Well,
For sure, without a doubt.
yeah, Master Isaacs, thank you very much. This is
Thank
very
you.
insightful. Thank you for the training. Thank you for this talk. I think this is really interesting. I think a lot of students, and even myself listening to this, I feel every time I talk to you and we train and I train with you, I feel like I should be training every day and not being and yeah and not being lazy and finding excuses because I have 3 kids, and so it's really inspiring. I did train today. I did train. Mr.
There you go.
Fogades, you trained today.
There you go.
Mr. Fogades, you're also helping out. But thank you again for everything, for
My pleasure.
your support. I can't wait to have you back here in Portugal and train everybody in person.
I think I'm just gonna move over there, sir.
Yes, okay, good, because we need you here. All right, thank you very much. I won't take more time. Great to have you.
All right, guys.
Great to see you again.
You
Bye.
too, brother. We'll see you later, sir. Bye bye.